Hello, everyone, and a very good evening to all of you for another session that we're going to do on the Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt 2020. That is the upcoming Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt that's about to happen. We will look at some coding questions that are going to come up. So we are going to continue our series of this preparation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Before I start with with today's topic and today's series, just a little bit about the format about this series. For the first few minutes, I'm going to talk about what exactly is the format of this Elite National Talent Hunt and what exactly is expected of you. What are some of the cutoffs that you can expect from this National Talent Hunt, although we will not know until the actual talent hunt happens. So we'll discuss a little bit about that. Then we'll go into one coding question that was previously asked by Wipro or by AMCAT. And this coding question today is nothing but how to find the transpose of a matrix. I will show you how to do the logic of that as well as the solution of that, and I will actually open it up in an online compiler and show you how that is done. So that's mainly the agenda, and obviously we will be taking some questions. So if anybody has any questions, please put them on the right hand side on the chat, and or you can leave them in the comments below and our team will respond to you. I will also take some questions at the end of the session. So if you have any such questions, let us know. Either we will respond to you by video or we will let you know on the chat. All right. And as always, we are always thankful to have you as our audience. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel and share this channel with your friends, share this video with your friends, all of those who are preparing for the Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt. It'll be better if more and more of you get a placement together. Right. So with that said, let's start our current session. So the session is about the Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt, and we are going to talk about the transpose of a matrix question. But just before that, let's quickly look at the pattern of this, and those of the students who have already know the pattern, just give me 2 minutes. I'll cover this up. I cover this in every session because every session we have some new students joining us. So let me cover this up quickly, and then we can go towards the question that we have at hand. Excuse me. So the pattern of the Wipro test is divided into three parts. You have the aptitude test, the written test, and the online programming test. The major difference between these two is that the written communication test is an essay writing. That means you have to actually write an essay. You will be given 20 minutes, but you have to actually write the essay. Aptitude test is going to be multiple choice. You're going to be asked on logical, quants, and as well as English verbal ability. So in logical, quants, and English, these are MCQ questions, and even for this we have over 250 of the previously asked questions on the Edyst platform. You can go ahead and try them out yourself. In the case that you want to practice out the online programming, that also we have on the platform. So we have about 250 plus questions on the Edyst platform. This is the first aptitude test. Generally speaking, if you are somewhere in the 60 or 70th percentile, it's not percentage, it's called percentile. If you're in the 60th or 70th percentile, there's a good chance you get selected for, that's the cutoff generally speaking. So you have to be 60, 70th percentile here. Similarly over here, I think about 50th percentile here, and again 50th percentile here probably. But again, all of this depends on your year's competition. So maybe last year the competition wasn't so much, this year the competition may increase. What you should focus on is getting as many marks in all of the three and making sure you get minimum of some marks in each question. For example, you might get 100 out of 100 on aptitude. Let's say you get 100 out of 100 here, right? But if you got 0 in the online programming, you will not get selected. So make sure that you clear each and every round. Don't just focus on one round over the other. That also, I mean that don't just focus on the programming over the aptitude. Focus on everything equally. My suggestion for everybody is start practicing the programming right now, because generally most of the students after first year don't program, which means they don't have much practice in the programming. So start preparing right now. It's going to be 60 minutes test with 2 questions. Generally the 2 questions will be, one will be difficult and one will be easy and one will be difficult. For the first one, try to clear all of the test cases, and the second one, try to clear as many test cases as possible. Then you have a good chance of clearing this round. So make sure that at least the first easy question you can clear all of the test cases. Any of the languages can be used: Java, C, C++, or Python. Any language is fine. Just to tell you a little bit more about the registration process, the registration is still open. It's open till 3rd October. So make sure you register. If you have not yet registered for this Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt, make sure you go to this website over here, which we'll also mention in the description. You should go to this website immediately, pause this video, go to the website, register, and then only come back. I'll actually open it up for you so that you can see what it looks like. So let me just open it up for you. 1 second. Right, so this is what it will look like. Please go to the following website. You will see an Elite National Talent Hunt 2020, all of the eligibility criteria, and you will see this apply now button over here. Please make sure you go click apply now, apply to the actual thing. Don't just watch the videos and say that you'll apply at the end. Apply now, right? Just apply right away, and you will then be able to be eligible for this round. All right, so 3rd October is the last day. Pause this video right now and go and register if you have not yet registered. Okay, so this is what I generally cover in the first half. I hope everybody got the details. For all those students who are new and first time, if you didn't understand all of the details about the format or about the registration process, please type it in the comments below or on the chat on the right side. Our team is online. We are more than happy to help you in understanding how the registration process works, and also what's the format of the test. All right, so let's now come to the question. And before I come to the question, I just want to show you where you can see the question. So the question for today is the Wipro Elite National Talent Preparation Transpose of a Matrix. This is a previously asked question by Wipro. And how do I actually go and practice this question? Well, to practice the question, you can go to the Edyst platform, and the Edyst platform you can go and check on the following link, which is nothing but over here, bit.ly/edyst_wipro. Just bit.ly/edyst_wipro. Type it in your Chrome browser. If you go to that link, this is what you will see. So you will see the following link. The moment, let's say, let me just open that link for you. When I open the link, I see this, and you have about 2 free modules that you can try out. The best part about these 2 free modules is we have over like 75 coding questions, but in these 2 free modules, you have a free revision of all of the concepts. So once you click this, it will ask you to log in, and once you log in, this is what it will look like. Right, you have a warm-up, and then you have some sample aptitude questions also. For this one, we've specifically kept about 300 questions, 250 questions of the aptitude. You can see 50 people are already online practicing, so don't miss out, join them and practice. Anyway, so the major unique part about this warm-up is that if you are someone who has not coded in a long time, this is like your complete revision, right from taking input all the way up to sorting. We do all of the entire revision of your programming concepts. So for example, if you're going into any of the Wipro questions, so the Wipro questions, let me open up. We've divided them into loops, maths, arrays. Let's say today's question is transpose of a matrix. Let's say you're stuck on this question. You don't remember how to take input of an array. Don't worry. You can just go back to the warm-up section. If I go to the warm-up section here, there is an arrays part, which is over here. And you can just look at all of the how to take input of array. We have a video, we have reading material. So make use of this complete revision material, which is completely free of cost to you. So make sure you at least make use of that. And once you've done that, then once you pay and unlock, you will get previous year's questions as well. All right. So that's how we are going to practice today. We are going to access this question over here. So without further delay, let's go ahead and check out the question. So the question, let me just see the unlocked version. So the question is available here. If I go to Wipro previous year's questions over here, let me click this, and then I go down to arrays, transpose of a matrix. This is where the question is. So the question, let me just open the question. The question says, write a program to find the transpose of a given n/m matrix, or n into m matrix, which basically means a matrix which has n rows and m columns. So n rows and m columns is what it has. So for a matrix like that, we have to find out the transpose. Now, those of you who don't remember your maths, what exactly is a transpose of a matrix? Let's have a look at that. So the transpose of a matrix is nothing but if I'm given this matrix, right? So let's say this is the matrix I'm given, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the matrix over here. These numbers 0, 1, 2, and over here 0, 1, 2 are all the indexes of each matrix. So for example, this is the 0th row and the 0th column, which is 1. 7 here is the second row with the 0th column, right? So in programming, we always start from 0 numbering. So we have started with 0 numbering. If I'm given this matrix like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the form of a 2D array, if I convert to a transpose, what happens is the rows become the columns. So my row was 1, 2, 3, it became a column 1, 2, 3. When it was 4, 5, 6, it became 4, 5, 6. And then 7, 8, 9, it becomes 7, 8, 9 like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's what it becomes. So what we're basically doing is we've taken our rows like this and we've converted them into columns. So we've just transposed this matrix. This is a very famous operation in mathematics, particularly in linear algebra. You don't need to learn all of that, but I'm just saying for those of you who are curious, we often use a transpose of a matrix in things like machine learning, AI. So it's a very interesting thing to do. So let's start by building the first steps. How do we find out the transpose of a matrix? So the transpose of a matrix, I'm assuming you already know two things about the transpose of a matrix, which is how do I even take input all of the array, right? So I'll show you how to take the input of the array, how to take the input of a 2D array. Let's say we have already taken this input of a 2D array. What we need to do is convert this matrix into this matrix. How do we go about doing this? Well, as you can see, let's look at one of the first things. The first thing is that the diagonal remains same. So if you take it 1, 5, 9 over here is the same as 1, 5, 9 over here, right? So the diagonal remains same. What is happening is that this element will get swapped with this element. That is 2 is getting swapped with 4, which is the case. 3 is getting swapped with 7, correct? And what else? 6 is getting swapped with 8. That is, if I draw a matrix like this, right? This is the diagonal which remains the same. What happens here? The element here gets swapped with the element here. The element over here gets swapped with the element over here, right? So there is some correspondence about this diagonal. Let's look at this even further, okay? We have over here 2 getting swapped with 4, right? What is 2? Where is 2? 2 is at A of 0, 1. And finally, where does 2 appear over here? 2 appears at A, 1, 0. And 4 over here was at A, 1, 0. So 4 over here was at A, 1, 0, correct? That gets transferred to A, 0, 1, right? So basically what's happening is that if you take this diagonal as an axis, all of the elements on this side, that is the upper right side, will get swapped with the elements on the lower right side, right? Lower left side rather. So all of the elements on the upper right side get swapped with the elements on the lower left side, which basically means we don't need to touch the lower left side. If we just traverse through the upper right side, let's say we are at some Aij, we just need to transfer it or swap it with Aj. If we transfer it with Aj, then the swap happens. So that's all we need to do. The approach is as follows, that we need to take inputs the rows and columns and then define the new array, take input the array. This we'll see in actual code how it's done, so I'll show you that. But once we have the array, what we're going to do is, let's say this is the 2D matrix, we are going to what are we going to do? We are going to start from the first point, right? These diagonals don't ever change, but the numbers after that is what we're going to do. So these two numbers, this one number, or let's say if we had a 4 by 4, right? So let's say we had a 4 by 4, right? What are we going to do is this part, and this part. These are the rows that we are going to traverse through, and we are going to swap it with their Aji. Aij, we are just going to swap it with Aji, which means we are taking the row and column and flipping it, but only for the upper half, because when we do it for the upper half, automatically the lower half will also change. So if we do it for the upper half, the lower half also will change because we are swapping both of them. So if we just go through the upper half, swap it with the lower half, we don't need to come back to the lower half, and this will become clearer as we go towards the code, right? So let me just open the code and see how we're going to do this, and we'll go step by step, right? It's always helpful to write all of these steps down in your code before you even start coding. What do I mean by that? Let's say this is the code, and I'll do it in C because most of you are familiar in C programming. So the first thing always is write the header files and everything. Don't even forget this. Even before you start thinking of the question, this is the first thing you should write down. Right? So we wrote this. So what are we supposed to do? Let's first define all our integers. That is int n, m, I, j will be our counters. Because we are swapping, we'll need a temp as well. Okay, we're out of that way. So first thing what we're going to do is take input n and m. Then we're going to define our array, and then take input the array. All right. Then swap upper triangle with lower triangle, and finally what are we going to do? We're going to print the array. That's all we have to do, right? So input nm. So how do we take input of nm? See, now I've listed down the steps, it becomes much easier to do. So how do we take input of n comma m? The easiest thing is scanf. So to scanf mod d and n, right? Simple. And let's take scanf mod d. All right, and m, right, that's done. Okay, so we did scanf of both these things. So we got n and m, where n is the rows and m is the columns. That's done. Now we have to define our array. You can see easiest way to do that is int, let's take the name of the array as int a, n is the number of rows, and m is the number of columns. Defined our array, done with that. Let's take the input of the array. How do we take input a 2D array? We are going to write a loop, right? This is I is equal to 0, I less than n, this is for the number of rows, right? So this is for the number of rows, and for the number of columns, we'll write a loop with j. J is equal to 0, j less than m, j plus plus. All right. So we wrote a loop for rows, we wrote a loop for columns, and we are now going to take as input an integer, right? Scanf mod d and aij. It's basically speaking, we have taken the input of aij, where aij will go through all of the values and take that input. So this is how you take input of a 2D array. First loop is for rows, second loop is for columns, and now aij will go through all the loops and columns, rows and columns, and then get us the input. Okay, now that we have the input, we have to swap the upper triangle with the lower triangle. How do we go about doing that? Well, the first row and column remains the same, that is the loop for row and column. We have to go through the entire loop, row and column, except that we don't have to go through all of the columns, right? So let's just come back to our slides and see. Over here, what we saw was we have to start from, we don't first of all take in the ith row, that is in the first row, we don't take the first element because there's no point swapping it, right? Here we don't take the second element, here we don't take the third element. Basically speaking, we will start at this point over here, at this point over here, and nothing over here, which is when we are at row 0, for row 0, we start at 1. At row 1, we start at 2. So basically, if the row is I, j has to start from I plus 1 all the way up to m. So we are going to start from I plus 1 and go all the way up to m for j. That's it. Because these are the numbers that need to be swapped with the previous, that is the lower half. So let's do that. So we have a loop here, j is equal to 0, j less than m, j plus plus. As we said, it's not j is equal to 0, it's j is equal to I plus 1. J less than m, j plus plus. What are we going to do? We are going to swap the two numbers. How do we swap numbers? If you remember your very early classes, the way the number swapping happens is we store the first number to be swapped into a temporary variable. So aij. Now aij can now take the value of the number we want to swap it with, which is nothing but aji, and then aji is equal to temp. So the aji value came into aij, and aji becomes temp, which was the original value of aij. So now the swap has happened of the upper and the lower triangle. Once we are done with the swapping, we just need to print the array. So how do we go about printing the array? Let's just take the input code. Okay, let's take the input code and print it and use it. Instead of scanf, we'll do printf aij and give some spaces between the numbers. So we'll give a space, and once a row is printed, we are going to print a new line. All right. Okay, let's go through the steps once again. We took input n and m were defined earlier. We defined our array int a and m, right? On everywhere else you're using okay. So we did int a and m. We first take the input array I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. This is for the rows, this is for the columns, and a has to be capital A because our array is capital A. Then what do? We swap the upper half with the lower half. This is what's happening here. Aij will be swapped with Aji, and once that is done, we again print the array, which is capital A, right? So we print the array with a capital A. First we'll print the spaces, and then we'll print a new line. All right. Okay, let's run and see what happens. Great, we passed our test cases. Now, first thing, a lot of students tell me, how do you pass the test cases so fast? I have prepared for this question and I've written down the tutorial. Hence, we can pass the test cases in so quickly. Don't expect yourself to pass the test cases so quickly. It will not always happen. It's completely fine. Take 1 or 2 tries and then try to pass the test cases, and you can work out. The main thing is to keep checking the expected output and your output. So don't think that suddenly in one try you're going to get through it. So let me try and submit it. After that, we'll have a recap and then we can take some questions from your side. All right. So let me just try to submit and see what happens. All right. So it's submitting. Okay. All right. I think it's taking some time to submit. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Let me close this. Okay. So the run works. Let us submit and try. Yep, great. We passed all of the test cases, test case 1 and test case 2, right? So just again recapping what we did, because this might be a new thing for you. We took the input of rows and columns. Let me just bring it back here. So we took the input rows and column over here first, then we defined a new array and took input the array. So these 3 steps, so the first 3 steps that we saw over here, these 3 steps in themselves are something new if you have not done 2D arrays before. So this is for 2D arrays, right? If you've never done 2D arrays, don't worry about this. Just go to the warm-up, read a little bit more about 2D arrays, and you'll understand better about what's happening. So these 3 steps, first understand these 3 steps and then only go to the algorithm. Once you finish these 3 steps, then understand this part, which is very simple. What we did was we just took the upper half of the triangle, we swapped it with the lower half, and then finally we printed the array, right? So what we have is this was the recap. Now what we're going to do is I'll just answer some of the basic questions that you might have about this. So one of the basic questions that most students ask is, first of all, what are the topics that we should be preparing for? And the topics that we should be preparing for are already mentioned in the Edyst website. So what I'll do is I'll just open that up. So let me just open that up 1 second. All right. So some of the topics that you should all be preparing for in this for this Wipro talent hunt is as follows. If you go to the Wipro previous year's questions over here, you will see all of the topics categorized into different all of the questions categorized into different topics. So my suggestion is you go in this order: loops and patterns, maths, arrays, that the order we have defined, because that is generally the increasing difficulty order. So try going in that order. It will become easier for you. So that is one of the questions that most students ask, that which are the topics we should prepare for. These are the topics that you all should prepare for. And again, sorting and stacks, this is generally asked in the higher level questions. First finish all of the previous questions. Then once you've done with the Wipro specific questions, instead of going for advanced questions, please go to the AMCAT questions, because Wipro will be using AMCAT for this test. So go and look at some of the previous AMCAT questions, which has even more questions. So just go and check those and then only come for the advanced questions, right? So that's one of my first advices, that please do it in a systematic way. Don't try to do every question. Do it in a systematic way. If you're not good at arrays, first go to the warm-up, learn about arrays, and then come to this topic. All right. And now if there are any other questions, I'll just wait for my team to let me know.
So the first question, as always, the most obvious one, is there a choice of language which we should use?
Right. So is there a choice of the language that we can use in this test? Absolutely, there is a choice. You can use either Java, C, C++, or Python. And as I've put on the slide over here, so Java, C, C++, or Python, and we have support for all 4 of these on the Edyst platform. So if you want to prepare in any one of these languages, you can just sign up on the Edyst platform and try it out. My suggestion is don't learn a new language right now. If you are comfortable in Java, continue in Java. If you're comfortable in Python, continue in Python. Even if you're comfortable in C, please continue in C. I did the question in front of you completely in C programming. It's possible to get all of the questions. It's not difficult. In fact, when you go for the interview, the interviewer will ask you, which language are you most comfortable in? If you say C++, they will ask you questions only in C++.
The second question is, it's a time specific competition. It's 140 minutes.
Yes.
What is the advice you have if you are running short and finishing the coding round?
So if you're running short of finishing the coding round, and what should I do? That's about 140 minutes test. Coding round itself is 60 minutes. What should I do? I have last 10 minutes left. I have not got any questions. What should I do? So what the first thing you should do is look at all of the input cases that are given in the question. So if the question says that if the number is not an integer, please output invalid. If a case is like that, try to tackle those cases first. The reason is tackling those cases itself will get you 5 points or 10 points. So at least get the edge cases, try to get some of points using that, right? So that's the best way of doing it. Second thing is, do not go for the optimal solution at all, right? When I say optimal solution, we did this question in 2 for loops. Can it be done in 1 for loop? Maybe. You don't have to think about that. Do it in any way possible. In this particular round, they are not going to check for your optimization or anything. Get the output however you can. So that way you can at least clear some test cases.
Some of the people who had attempted TCS, Code Vita, Ninja, and all that, there were some errors which were like presentation errors, logical error, and compilation error. Can you tell us a little bit how to not get stuck with those?
All right. So some of the questions, some of the users who've already attempted the talent hunts before, like Code Vita was there, TCS Ninja was there. There were some weird errors coming back from the compiler, and you're not sure what to do. So generally speaking, whenever you get an error from a compiler, it could be genuinely because there's a problem with the compiler, or it could be because of the problem of your code. 99% of the time, it's the problem with your code. Now, whenever you get a problem, make sure to check for 2-3 very, very simple things. And those 2-3 simple things are these. So let me just put it on a slide so that you also can see what those things are, right? So those 2-3 simple things are: number one, right, in test cases, make sure that you don't have any extra spaces, right? So when we printed a new line at the correct point, we printed a space at the correct point. Don't give any extra spaces, because the compiler is going to check, the evaluator is going to check space by space. All right. Second, don't write words like what is your number, right? Because in our C programming questions we used to write, right, please enter your number or please input integer. You don't have to write any of that. Take input as in the format that they have said. Please look out for mismatches, right? So for example, if the input is in string and you are taking integer, right, it's going to cause an mismatch. So if they don't try to do that, read the input and the output format carefully, and most of your error messages should be solved.
A lot of people are asking how much time should we spend on coding practice and how much on the aptitude.
Okay, so right now we have about 2.5 weeks left, or just about 3 weeks left. How much time should you be spending on each of these topics? Should you be spending all your time on aptitude versus written versus online? My suggestion is go this up way. That is, first start with programming. There are about 75 previously asked questions that we have on our platform alone. Make sure you clear all of those 75 programming questions, because there is a good chance some of them might repeat. So these questions will take the most time to understand. Aptitude, written, you can still learn towards the end times, that is towards near the test. But if you start preparing programming now, only then you will be able to clear it by that time, because then even if the questions don't repeat, they'll ask a similar question. If you don't understand the programming question, you won't be able to clear it.
A couple of last questions. Some people are asking, if we are stuck while practicing on the platform, what kind of support can we expect from Edyst?
Right. So if you're stuck on the platform, what kind of support can you expect? Because especially you might have just started coding, you don't really know how to solve some of the problems, some of the errors. So what kind of support you can expect from Edyst? Let me just open up the live platform right now. So in the live platform, you can see about 35 people are online over here. One of those who's online is a mentor called Ravi, who is over here, right? Hello Ravi, you can just say hi to him. I need help with a problem, right? And he will reply back to you. He will tell you. So that is one way in which you can get some support on the Edyst platform. Let's say if Ravi is not there, you can always reach out to me. This is me. hello Aneeq, I am stuck, please help me, right? And I will also reply back to you. So we are live on the platform to help you out. That's one. Let's say you have a big problem and you don't really want to type it on the chat. You can just go to the forum, right? So there's a forum over here. You could go to the forum, click ask a question, type the problem you have a problem in. For example, we did transpose, right? So transpose of a matrix. I don't know how to take input. Let's say you have that's your problem. This is my code, please help me, and then you can just post the question. Once you post the question, your this is how it looks like. Somebody will actually answer with the right answer. Somebody will actually you can get upvotes, you can get likes, and so on and so forth. So we have the forum, we have the chat if you have any problem, and if you don't even get there, there's also a group chat. So this is the group chat. um, as you can see, people are discussing the solutions over here with each other, and they're helping out each other over here, right? So somebody wants a solution in Python, somebody wants in Java. So these are all ways to help out each other on the platform.
One last question. People are asking what are some of the other webcasts and videos can we expect from Edyst?
All right. So one final question. I think it's because we're also eager to learn more. What are some of the other webcasts that we can expect from Edyst? So what are some of the other topics that we're focusing on right now? Let me just show them to you. So these are all of the previously asked Wipro questions, right? Let me just open that up. Yeah. So these are all of the previously asked Wipro questions. Yesterday we covered a loops question. Today we covered an arrays question. Next time mostly we'll cover a strings question, how to do a strings question. Then we'll do sorting and a maths question. So every day we'll take up one topic that has been previously asked by Wipro and by AMCAT, and then we'll keep doing those every day. So mostly we should have a webinar next Monday. Do tune in for that. And if you have any questions, please put it in the comments below or on the chat on the right hand side. We're more than happy to help. Our team is online to help you out. Sign up on the Edyst platform and you can reach out to me directly if you have any doubts. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. The more you subscribe and more of friends subscribe, the faster you'll get the notifications that we are doing a webinar. Don't miss a webinar from Edyst. We'll help you in preparing for this Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt. Today's question was transpose of a matrix. Tune in tomorrow and the next time for a next topic that we'll take up, which was previously asked by Wipro. So thank you everybody once again. If you have any questions, doubts, you can reach out to us on the platform. If you're interested in signing up for this course, just drop us a WhatsApp message on the number below. So the WhatsApp number is here. You can just drop it over there, and or you can reach out to us by email at team@edyst.com. Thanks everyone again for tuning in. All the best for your preparation, and hoping all of you clear the Wipro Elite National Talent Hunt. Thank you so much.